Access TV is a community television alternative source of local news, entertainment, and information targeting Hartford, Connecticut. Their mission is to produce public affairs type programming that delivers to their viewers information they need to make informed choices. Access TV has been active for over 3 years and features 30 shows on their network today. Meet Nyesha McCauley, executive producer for Access TV, and has been running the station since December of 2007 while running for mayor. He has several citations and recognitions for his work in the community. Nyesha McCauley also does video production services for clients such as Meta Education and Blue Hill Civic Association. Access TV also features the Connecticut Black News Network and W4 News on their website.
Hello, my name is Nyesha McCauley. I'm the owner and chief of operations here at ACCESSTVORG. It's an online television network, and we broadcast programming throughout the day. We generally try to do at least one new show every day, but we generally wind up doing probably about 3 shows every day. We're on for 11 weeks, and then we take a 2-week vacation.
Mr. McCauley, how long you been filming for?
Well, I've been doing this for probably, 20 years or more. I've lost count. I've been doing this for so long. But no greater fun, no greater joy than being able to capture the life and what's going on in the city of Hartford.
I was doing radio. I started out doing radio. I had a radio show called Light Source Radio Network. And then in 1984, I started doing television. And I started doing television at the public access station. And I went down and started doing a show. I remember my first show like it was yesterday, because I remember thinking to myself, why am I here? Because I forgot what I was going to say, and it seemed like an eternity that there was this big gap of silence. It might have been 30 seconds, and that's a big gap. But in that 30 seconds, I was like saying to myself, you fool, just get up and walk off the set while you have some dignity left. I didn't walk off the set, and I've been running my mouth ever since. But I really started this so that I could preach the gospel on television. And I had a gospel TV show for many years, and I was blessed to be able to have the opportunity to be a program coordinator at the TV station, and ultimately became the CEO and the executive director of Hartford Public Access Television.
First, I met Stan at Hartford Public Access, actually. And the year escapes me right now. I can't remember exactly what year it was, but it's been a few years now. And I did a program there called Mo Shop Talk in a barbershop up on Albany Avenue. And Stan really guided me through that and helped me with the editing and all the stuff that was, that you need to do. And that's when we first met.
I had known Stan from Hartford Public Access. He trained me, as a matter of fact, as a producer back in 1995. And so, and I would see him often, and he told me that he was leaving Public Access.
I became involved with ACCESSTVORG after deciding to support Nyesha McCauley for mayor. And he and I were blackballed. He was fired from his position, and I was made to not work from Carpenter's Local 43 because he ran against Eddie Perez, and I supported him in that mission. Subsequently, after leaving Hartford Public Access, Pastor Stan McCauley built ACCESSTV.org.
So for many years I did that until I decided to run for mayor. And after I ran for mayor, the political fallout was I was relieved of the burden of having to run a TV station, or that's a nice way of saying fired. So I was fired, and for I guess blurring the lines, if you will. But nonetheless, that's what gave birth to ACCESSTV.org. And one of our producers, Jonathan Small, was desiring to do something. And he's what we like to call a professional caller. He doesn't get paid to call, but if you listen to talk radio or talk television, Jonathan is on every show, and you might hear him every day. So Jonathan would call me and leave messages on my cell phone that were like little radio shows. So I said, it's easier for me to just give Jonathan a show than it is to spend time talking to him. And that's literally what happened.
Well, I first became involved with ACCESSTVORG in 2012. I was a frequent caller to many different programs, and the owner of the network had the idea of having me just come out and have my own particular talk show. And everything was at, I guess, the right timing because, starting the video online network was something that I was more interested into. Actually, I was kind of interested in doing radio, but once I got in front of the camera, I looked at the outcome, I kind of fell more in love with video online than actually radio.
While doing a show on radio, on local radio, WKND, I met a gentleman by the name of Abe Giles, who had a life of public service, who gave me the opportunity to talk about some of the solutions that I believe would address a lot of the issues that we were facing in the greater Hartford area. And from that, we developed a show here on Access TV.
So I met Russell, and he's had a show on Access TV for a very long time. And we met at a few community meetings and started talking, and he invited me to interview on his show. So I went on. It was a great experience. And at that time, I actually had joked around with Stan about whether or not I would do my own show. And I got too busy, and about a year after that, I came on as a guest for another person, Evelyn, the Greater Good. She has a show, and so she had me on. And I think it was after that show, I realized that, okay, I think I can have my own show as well.
So the first show that he did come and was able to video for me was the community block watches. I was actually starting up some block watches in the Clay Arsenal in Northeast community, and he came over to 2550 Main Street and videoed that block watch meeting for me. And then after that, he also came and videoed the Infield Street block party for me. So it's been a wonderful relationship, getting him to come out and share with everyone what Daughters of Eve is doing in the community.
Stan asked me to do a show, but I met Stan many years ago when I came to Access TV Channel 5 and did some storytelling on Channel 5 is when I met him. And so I didn't see him for a lot of years. I didn't start seeing him actually again until he ran for mayor. And so when he ran for mayor, I got involved again.
Now, how I got involved in doing ACCESSTV.org, because I got myself familiar with the Stan McCauley, actually a long time ago, and he was working at Channel 5, Hartford Public Access TV. So when he left, he started his own thing as ACCESSTV.org and asked me to come aboard. And I was really happy to come aboard. I was like, really, I was very honored. And that's why I'm here. I've been doing this for 3 years.
I think we talked about the shows that we were doing. And Mrs. Access TV,
No, I like that.
Mrs. Access TV, Nyesha McCauley.
Mrs. Access TV.
Really just, I think she commented on something that we were doing on one of our shows, and she reached out about ACCESSTV.org, and we basically connected us to our executive producer, and that's really how we got on board.
Mm-hmm. And as we said a little earlier, we've been here for about 1.5 years. The show is in its, I believe it's 4th season? Mm-hmm. 4th season. We're in our 4th season right now. So
So we're developing
Yeah.
it. We're still, we don't get our legs under us, and I think we've done this before, but just really doing it in this venue.
Yeah.
And it continues to build and grow. So we're excited about where it can go, where it is going.
We went from just pretty straightforward radio to online radio, which was also online TV. It was radio online. It was also TV online, the same show. And then now we're here. We're doing online TV with Access TV.
The way I became involved with ACCESSTV.org is that J. Stan McCauley and his wife Nyesha McCauley were always out around in the community filming and talking about the things that the people were doing and the things that were done in the grassroots neighborhood where I live, and myself being interested in youth programming, developing youth, and the things that we need to do to prepare ourselves for our future. It was just a great relationship, and things just evolved one into the other. And now here we are 5 years later, and J. Stan McCauley and Nyesha have their own station, ACCESSTV.org, the greatest network grassroots station on www.web.
And he told me that he was leaving public access and starting his own network. I said, Stan, I'd like to do a program with you. We'll call it Current Invective. We did 2 programs, in fact. We did Current Invective, and then we did a program called Green Vision. And actually there are some links to those on a web page that I maintain, which is called step4.com.
I was watching actually a family member danced at the White House for Michelle Obama, and it wasn't on the news. Around the same time, Russell Williams contacted me about possibly working with Stan McCauley on a information show that would talk about people in the city of Hartford that were doing things that we considered extraordinary, but they weren't getting any recognition for.
So Jonathan was the first producer down here, and now there's like 20 of them. And I'm blessed that I'm able to have a studio in my house.
Our show is called The Challenge with Russell Williams, and we call it The Challenge because we believe that every single day is a bit of a challenge for us to deal with issues that we must face in order for us to become better.
I do it because that's just something I do naturally, and to tell a story in your natural way. I wanted to share that, and I love teaching other people storytelling, and I think that maybe this show does that.
The We Thing is a tool, actually, to expose the praise and worship and that same power to people who are not in church, who are not or don't go. I shouldn't say in church, but who don't attend the building where the church come together and fellowship.
Currently, I'm the host of All Politics is Local. And the reason that I do my show is because no matter where you are, no matter what you do, no matter what city or state you live in, it's politics who controls your environment. People don't realize things like getting your trash picked up, what day your trash gets picked up, what school your child goes to, and employment opportunities in your city is governed by politics. So no matter what you want to do, it's all governed by nonprofit organizations. That's public funding. Public funding comes from politicians. So everything we do is political. We want to make sure that the people know what those connections are.
We're bringing recent racist perspectives, and we're offering other perspectives as well. Like I said, we offer a platform for other professionals or just other people. Doesn't have to be necessarily a doctor, so to speak. Just a person who has a perspective on our particular topics will be able to come in and share their perspective.
Since I was a young fellow, I've been an intemperate writer of letters to the editor, and they tend to be incendiary. My letters, because that's what I'm inspired. That's when I'm inspired is by usually I would say malfeasance in office would be one of my big problems, and there's plenty of it, and you can find it any day of any week, and you can write about it. And so I write about malfeasance of various kinds, and I've been doing that. And they stopped publishing my letters some time ago. I think I got a little bit too hard-edged, And so I decided to publish them myself. We had in 1995 a brand new thing, internet, and I learned a little HTML programming, and I got myself a domain, step 4, the first 4 letters of my first and last name, Stephen Fournier. And so I became step4.com, and I started publishing my own stuff. And then that became Current Invective, currentinvective.com.
The name of my show on ACCESSTV.org is For the Greater Good with Evelyn R. Richardson. The reason that I am doing the show For the Greater Good is to show how when community and community-based organizations and all of the affiliates get together for the greater good of a community, that can be of great benefit for the community. So I do that show just to be able to share what's out there and maybe be able to identify what's needed out there for the greater good of the people of the city of Hartford.
Well, I have 2 different shows. The original show, which is called All About You, is a biographical show. And that show basically started with the idea of having any particular person give their life story. And it kind of changed very quickly towards aiming for a particular high-profile individual to give their life story. And I've been doing that show for the past 3 years. And then just a couple of months ago, I started doing an issue-related show called Face to Face. And that show basically deals with current issues, political issues, business issues, just a straightforward, hard question, particular program that deals with a lot of issue-related conversations and topics.
So the CBRAC report is actually an acronym for Connecticut Black Republicans and Conservatives. And we're a political action group in Connecticut and representing the Republicans and conservative viewpoints. And in my discussions with Stan, he felt that the voice and the opinion that I had to offer would be valuable on the station.
Access TV has had many evolutions, I will call them. It didn't start out as Access TV the way when you log on to it now. It was very different. It was designed differently because it was just Stan who was creating this idea, and so it evolves like continuously, and it will still evolve. Probably by the time people are watching this video, it could look totally different because Stan is relentless in his trying to perfect it, always trying to tweak it and work on it. So he won't rest until it's right, it's perfect. And so it has, I don't know what version you want to call this current Access TV, but and it started really with like one producer.
The regular media of today is that it always focuses on the negative. And one of the alternatives to that is the Access Television, which Stan operates. It focuses on the positive things that are going on in the community, which will bring out the positive in our young people, will have a positive influence on the minds of young people as opposed to a negative one.
Doing ACCESSTV.org has changed my life a lot. It just helps me really upgrade my skills as far as being in the TV and media fields.
Thing about ACCESSTV.org, because it is a grassroots neighborhood network, many people where I live, where you live, talk about the things that are on the station, where they have 30 different channels and different stations. So as we talk about things that are political, talk about relationships, community involvement, and civic pride, youth development, all those things are rolled into one. And myself personally, as a former council member and running again for Hartford City Council, it's exciting to know that I'm able to educate the community about what things are going on around them, who's responsible for what, give individuals contact information, how they can make things happen. When parents have issues with their children, we're able to refer them. They're able to call into us. We're going to have a two-way dialogue on some, pertinent questions. Right now, the station is involved in helping a young lady from New Jersey who is bringing to Hartford, Connecticut, a real-life story about bringing abuse to light, charmed in his arms, that she wants to help people who are being affected by domestic violence. So the sky is the limit. This station does not discriminate about what it wants to hear. If it's important to you, it's important to ACCESSTV.org.
The way the program affected me is being in different churches and seeing how all the different denominations reverence and worship God in their own way has given me a broader perspective of the body of Christ, a deeper respect for its members, and as they worship and serve the Lord. And it has helped me to grow spiritually and not be so judgmental. You have one denomination may not accept another denomination. You have church competitions and stuff. And so all those barriers were broken down for me. And I realized it's really just one body, one Lord, one faith, and one baptism.
Been able to meet a lot of important people, been able to network at many different levels, been able to build a proven track record over the past 3 years. It's something that I've grown with because I started with ACCESSTV.org network at this particular location in the beginning stages. And it's built up a tremendous structure and confidence level overall. And it's always a challenge, but it's always something that I feel I could accomplish trying to outdo my next show that I've done the previous show. So I would say ACCESSTV.org network has been a tremendous boost, and I hope I've had something to offer to ACCESSTV.org network as well.
By nature, I'm a storyteller, and storytellers usually need people in front of them. So this was a first experience where I had to tell stories and talk without seeing people, because usually people are part of that story. They help you tell the story by their reactions and their facial expressions and their movements. You move your story along the lines of your audience. And so doing it in front of a camera, you don't see an audience. So you have to sort of think that know that they're there. So it took me a little while to get comfortable in being in front of a camera.
I have a greater appreciation for the news and what it takes to put a story together, to always be, on top of current events. I think what I appreciated most, what I learned the most, is how much, this almost seems strange, but how much I do know and then how much I don't know. And so it's kind of, as you dig into a story or something hits you and you want to talk about it, you realize that you have a lot deeper opinions than you first thought. But then as you research it, you begin to understand, well, there's a whole bunch that you really don't know just yet. So it has broadened my perspective on everything. And being able to go back and watch the shows that I have recorded, it gives me new insight into the topic. Because sometimes, even when you're talking, you're saying things and it's just bubbling right up, and then afterwards you're like, wow, that was good, or that was profound, or that was really weird. So I've learned a lot about myself from doing the show.
Access TV has really been really very educational, and in a lot of ways it has allowed me to have a platform to share my voice and my perspective on issues that matter and issues that all of us deal with on a daily basis. There is no other platform, if you will, that will hear my candid, my frank, and my very unique perspective that I have with respects to those things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis.
TV has affected my life in wonderful ways. It has given me a forum to share with the community the things that I find important, to be able to interview people that I find that have either community, political, or collaboration possibilities for me. So it has been able to widen my knowledge base of learning what other people are doing in the community, how other people feel about what's going on in the city of Hartford, and has opened me up to a wide spectrum of high-profile leaders that have come to the show and have shared with me and my viewers.
It's not just the fact that you can go on and have your own TV show. It's about empowering people. So Jonathan Small was the first producer to have a show, and Stan really took the time to invest in Jonathan to bring him to a level where he was comfortable in front of the camera, developing his interviewing skills, and that's the point, that where we work on the person also becoming a great producer, a great communicator. It's not just about having your own TV show, but ACCESSTV.org invests in people.
They do great work. They are very, very talented. They've grown tremendously over the last 3 years. And along with them, we're looking to do great things in terms of growing our voice in the community and providing people with news that they could use on a grassroots level.